Is this safe talking on a cell phone? Is it safe putting it next to your heart here? Is it safe on a speakerphone, which is the way I use it? Kyle and I are going to discuss that toward the end of the show today. Dr. Christine Salter, a medical doctor, is going to teach us a little bit about fibromyalgia. Why are baseball players getting all these brain cancers? You read about this over and over again. I have my thought on it, and I'll share it with you. But opening today's show, we only got one liver. We got two of everything else, we got one liver. Glutathione is a nutrient, very, very important for you. How do you get this glutathione in your body? A bacteria called Me3. How do you get that? Stay tuned for the opening of the show. Dr. Fred Pescatore is going to talk about this good bacteria. All that and more on today's Know the Cause. Know the Cause is brought to you today by remarkable, revolutionary Reg Active. My name is Doug Kaufman. For the past 40 years, I've dedicated my life and even my career to finding the root cause of disease. Join me in a team of physicians, pharmacists, and scientists, and soon you too will know the cause. Dr. Fred Pescatore joins me right now. This is a man who practices what he preaches. I said doctor. He's a physician in New York City. I know where his office is. I've been there several times. Folks, a lot of doctors, you've been to them, a lot of doctors are so busy. Their lifestyle is such that they put on weight. They can't possibly eat well. Their stress level is so high. Dr. Pescatore has made an effort to keep himself looking like the doctor you should see. People say to me, they call me from New Jersey, New York all the time, do you know a doctor out this area? And they're blown away, honestly, when they see you.
And I so appreciate that because they do come in and I always know, and they say you refer them and they saw me, I know the cause. So it's really a tremendous opportunity for me to be
here.
I appreciate it.
You're loved. First of all, they can't believe that this is an aging male. I've known him 15 years. He just gets younger every year. But you practice what you preach. We were talking about cigarettes and smoking and things of that sort.
I don't do any of those.
No, and it shows. He's written a new book, and by the by, it's going to be a bestseller. Get it now while you can. It's called The A-List Diet. So well named. Lose up to 15 pounds and look and feel younger in just 2 weeks. You know, this is obviously, he's the author. And in this book, he talks about many things you need to do, the changes, right? If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. This book expounds on that and then expounds on something his patients and he takes every day. Want to know what it is to look this good and feel this good? Something called probiotics. One of them has something in it called Me3. Me3 is good for those of you who've got tummy problems or those of you who lifted 400 pounds today and are athletic and are riding your bike across country. We got two of everything, right? And we got one liver. So take it from there, Dr. Pescatore.
But I mean, let's talk about Me3. I mean, we're talking about everybody wants, the biggest issue facing America today is oxidative stress.
Yeah.
And I think people are starting to finally understand what that buzzword means. And oxidative stress, for those who may not know what it is, it's really the inflammation that occurs in your arterial cell walls. So inflammation. People have heard that word. I think they're starting to associate inflammation with disease.
Yep.
And Me3 is really something that helps go after oxidative stress. Because what Reg Active is, and the active ingredient in Reg Active is Me3, which is a form of a probiotic. But if you want to just I don't want people to get bogged down in the dogma of all of these words. Me3 forms glutathione. Glutathione helps decrease oxidative stress in the body. And so we need to decrease oxidative stress. So you will, oxidative stress, decreasing oxidative stress helps support a healthy heart. It helps support a healthy brain, helps support a healthy gut, healthy joints. All of those things, healthy skin, all of those things we want to have happen. You need to help fight oxidative stress. And so you need a specific probiotic called Me3 or Reg Active to help you do that, because it's the only source to get glutathione. It's the only way you can help stimulate your body's production of glutathione. And as we age, our body's production of glutathione goes down and down and down. And this is the only thing we know by scientific means that helps produce glutathione in the body. And glutathione is essential for life.
I remember the Dr. Pescatore, when I visited you in New York, who would take this a couple times a day, every day, back when people said, no, you only do probiotics if you got tummy problems. You were taking it, a few times a day. I now know a Dr. Pescatore who takes Reg Active and Dr. O'Hara's probiotics.
Yes.
Are they different?
Completely different. Dr. O'Hara's probiotics is a complete probiotic system, right? So you've got the prebiotics, you've got the live bacteria, you've got the probiotic, you've got it all in there. Yeah. It's a wonderful probiotic, and it's why it's the one I recommend. ME3 or Reg Active is a one specific strain that does one specific thing, which is to produce glutathione. If you don't have enough glutathione in your body, your liver is not detoxifying well, and you're going to age, and you're not going to age gracefully or well.
Yeah, one, folks, is really for the tummy. And I used to tell you on this TV show a decade ago, take this product for stomach problems. I'm now learning, take it prophylactically every day because it helps with foods you eat and so forth.
You need it for everything. You need a good probiotic for literally your entire health.
Yeah, you do. And I wish you well on this book. The book is called The A-List Diet. You can read more about Dr. O'Hara's and Reg Active in this book. Well done.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
A short time ago, I read an article that just blew my mind. I mean, I have always, even as a kid, I loved baseball. When I got back in Vietnam, I joined a softball league and played shortstop and could hit the ball pretty far because it's so slow. It's not coming at you 120 miles an hour. And I've always loved baseball, just loved it. And the article, well, let me share it with you here. The brain cancer that keeps killing baseball players. New York Times, I read it online, August 14th, 2017. The brain cancer that keeps killing baseball players. And I'm thinking, what is this? Is it from spit on the ball, the old spitball? Is it from the running, the exercise? Is it from too much sunlight? Did God make a mistake by putting the sun there, as many people believe? What is causing this cancer that's killing so many baseball players? And you read it, and it's weird, because it's not one or two baseball players. There's guys dying of this. So the detective Doug Kaufman, I put my thinking cap on and I think, wait a minute. I read an article not long ago that may lend some credibility to this, or at least I should call the American Baseball Association and say, hey guys, I think we're onto something. Are you with me on this? You guys are like me. I know, you're diagnosticians. I may not be an MD, but man, I'm a diagnostician. If my car doesn't start, you got to have the foot on the brake. Now I remember, okay? So go with me here. This is the company that makes this sunflower seeds. They're called Bigs. You've seen the big containers of sunflower seeds. Whether you're watching a Major League Baseball game at home or cheering on your kid in Little League, chances are you're going to see players with one cheek bulging with sunflower seeds. Okay, looking at Trevor right now, our cameraman extraordinaire. This is Trevor, and we were talking about this before we went on the air. What Trevor said is, look, Doug, I'm young. I don't want to chew that other stuff. Don't want to chew tobacco. I don't want to chew stuff that might give me mouth cancer, right? So I'm chewing sunflower seeds. Folks, we need to rethink this. Anytime you have people who are doing a lot of something begin dying of strange onset cancers, we need to think this through. And that's the same thing Trevor said. But I can remember back before Vietnam, 16, 17 years old. I never chewed them, I don't have a big lump in my mouth, but I love sunflower seeds. I was probably sodium deficient, and they provided me a way to feel pretty good. The tides have changed. The world has changed. Now, if those little seedlings crack a little bit, mold begins growing in it. Look at what the University of Michigan, this study came up with. I thought this was fascinating. This is on naturalblaze.com. Michigan State University researchers have shown that sunflower seeds are frequently contaminated with a cancer-causing fungal agent called aflatoxin. Can you put all three of those together? Why are baseball players mysteriously dying? And I didn't know this. To be candid with you, I still watch. I enjoy baseball, but I've been studying and traveling so much in my old age, I don't get to do that. But I still see these guys. It's gross, Trevor, but all of your spitting. But it used to be tobacco, and the stuff would go down their chin. Doesn't look like that now, but they still got a big ball. So what they're doing is taking a handful of sunflower seeds, putting it in there and getting some kind of charge out of it. I don't know exactly what's going on. But folks, sometimes the most logical answers, it's the elephant in the room, that we have to move to get to the room. If the elephant wasn't there, we'd shoot straight through the room. It's obvious to me that these sunflower seeds, and I'm not, they're great companies out there making these, but if I were a sunflower, let's say I'm this company Biggs, you know what I'm doing? I'm going to begin assaying or testing every round of 25,000 pounds of sunflower seeds for Aspergillus mold, because it's Aspergillus mold that makes aflatoxin. Aflatoxin is used to induce cancers in laboratory animals. We know it causes mammal cancer, and we are mammals. So it's kind of interesting. Why doesn't one company step forward and say, okay, from here on in, we want you to keep using sunflower seeds, but we didn't know it was dangerous. Nobody did till this university study came out. What we're going to do is only use the seeds that are Aspergillus-free. You ever been eating sunflower seeds and all of a sudden you go, ooh, man, I got a bad one. Do you spit it out? Nah, you throw some more in there. Now you know what the bad one is, right? It's a poison called aflatoxin. Just be careful out there. That's what this show is all about. Did you know that being overweight or having excess estrogen in your body might increase your risk of cancer? Okay, Nurse Ginny is here. Then right after, Dr. Salter talks about fibromyalgia and what you might do about that.
Hi, I'm Jenny Herbacek with The Cancer Connection. A study published in 2016 showed that the longer a woman is overweight, the more likely she is to develop breast, endometrial, colon, or kidney cancer. The fact that obesity increases our risk for cancer is not new information. But this study also revealed that the length of time that you're overweight also contributes to your overall cancer risk. The study found that, on average odds, they rose by 10% every 10 years that a woman remained obese. The increased risk comes from the fact that the cancer cells produce an excess of the hormone estrogen. And excess estrogen is known to feed some cancers, especially breast cancer. The study is another reason why it pays to lower your blood sugar levels, reverse insulin resistance, and you can do that by eating the Kaufman diet, phase 1 or phase 2. For Know the Cause, I'm Jenny Herbacek.
Okay, my good buddy, Dr. Christine Salter is here. She's from St. Louis. We've met at several symposiums together. We've spoken together, and we do have fun. This is a doctor who, if I lived in St. Louis, and if I was like this, I would go see. Thank you for coming on and being with us.
Thank you.
You know, we laugh a lot at those symposiums.
Yes,
we do have a good time. And you've got all these other doctors who are a little bit stodgy. I noticed at the one in St. Louis, and you just got back from Tucson lecturing.
That's right.
But the one in St. Louis, when you got up there, you made them laugh. She puts this slide up of this huge elephant in a room, and she's saying the obvious is fungus. And there's an elephant sitting in a room, and a lot of the people just, elephant in a room. You say you got to get through that elephant in the room. That's right. What do people come see? You have a concierge practice.
Yes.
What's the most common presenting complaint from an adult who comes into your practice?
Well, I get a variety of patients who are looking for the root cause. They've had a chronic illness. They've seen multiple other doctors. Chronic fatigue, chronic skin conditions, autoimmune conditions. So a variety. And I do see patients who are challenged with malignancy, with cancer.
Wow, and you're so eloquent when you talk on that. Is it fair to say that a quarter to a half or more, I started this segment by resting my arm, and I used to do this in biology in high school. Is fatigue a growing problem?
You know, it's a huge problem, and sometimes they don't even come and present that way.
Right.
Some come and say, I'm just so tired. But in some of the other conditions, as I take the history, the fatigue is just part of it. And so then right away we know that there's an issue with the mitochondria.
And here's something you probably didn't even know the word when you were a little girl: fibromyalgia. Now it's proliferative. I mean, fibromyalgia, you know, at these conferences, the doctors are asking us, what do you do with this mobile pain that's so bad? Does that accompany a lot of this fatigue also?
It does, but fibromyalgia can occur in multiple situations. It's not just one thing. The mitochondria is certainly involved.
And that's in the cell.
That's that little cell organelle, which is the powerhouse. And the mitochondria is so important, they have their own DNA. That's how important the mitochondria are.
I didn't know that.
Yes, they have their own DNA. You've got the cellular DNA, and then you've got the mitochondrial DNA, and that's passed down from the mother.
Oh no!
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a very, very important organelle, and when it gets dysfunctional, it sends messages back to the DNA.
Okay.
And that's now what's being considered really what's going on in the cancering process. That is really not just the DNA, it's really the mitochondria that's feeding back to the DNA.
Okay, and I'm familiar with Siegfried's work. He spoke at the cancer.
Yes.
Neat guy.
Yes.
But here's where I'm coming at all this. I don't care what part of the cell is injured. Some poison must be wrecking that.
Right.
And so you take this thorough history. I had the opportunity to speak with several of your patients. You spend a lot of time with them. And you ask questions they've never been asked.
Right.
They've been to a skin doctor. Does it itch? Yeah, I'd like it fixed. What happens when you stand up? Doesn't itch as bad. You know, you're asking the appropriate questions.
Yes.
Antibiotic history. Did you ever in your life have a problem with alcohol? You know, I mean, the right mycotoxin questions.
Right.
Do you find a lot of them fit into that category?
Oh yes, and they're amazed. You see, I like to take them on that journey so they can see for themselves and connect the dots. So they go, oh, okay. Then I ask them, do you have toenail fungus? And they're like, oh yeah, for years. Okay. And you know, have you had vaginal yeast infections? Oh yeah, I've been having a lot of, you know, and those things they don't mention those. You've got to go digging and find those associations, and then they get it. So when I put them on the phase 1 or phase whichever
Whatever
phase diet
right.
it's going to be, then they're ready. They're set when they realize.
This one time a patient of Dr. Salter's told me, and this is a funny story. She got dressed up. Everybody dresses up your best underwear you wear to the doctor, right? And she said, she told me to take my shoes and socks off. The last thing you'd think in a doctor's office, they're going to tell you to take off. But her toes were a window into her whole body, and you helped her tremendously. There's a lot of tears in your office because people realize, I can live through this. It's great to see you again. Thank you for touring so much and lecturing and putting out the good word about fungus. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is amazing. A game-changing, huge federal study links cell phone radiation to cancer. Kyle and I are going to talk about that right now. Kyle, where's Kyle?
Yeah.
Where'd Kyle go?
I'm on Know the Cause. I gotta go. Bye.
Okay. Speaking of cell phone radiation.
Hello. Hi. Sorry.
We planned that, of course. We did that because Kyle, by the way, I have never seen Kyle hold that to his head.
No.
I never have. You're always on the speakerphone, so everybody on the bus can hear you. That's important.
Yeah, they love that.
This is interesting, and I'll tell you why it's interesting, Kyle. You know Lee Cowden.
Yeah.
Dr. Lee Cowden's a cardiologist, friend of mine and Ruth's for, 35, 40 years. Wonderful guy. 4 years ago. Were you watching Know the Cause 4 years ago? Folks, you're going to find us sometimes repeating segments, this one on cell phones. Here's what we said, or what Dr. Cowden said, 4 years ago now on Know the Cause.
Another thing to consider as you're sending your kids back to school is this cell phone that you've given them to be able to communicate with you. This cell phone is also sometimes potentially a very dangerous thing. If you keep it in your pocket, you may increase the risk of sterility later in life. If the child holds the phone up to their head like this, then they can actually get problems with brain cancer and other diseases. You see here on this slide that this is an adult who's had a cell phone up to the ear for 5 minutes, and you see the amount of brain heating that occurs. This is a 10-year-old child. This is a 5-year-old child. So it shows that the thinner the skull is, the greater the penetration of this harmful radiation is into the head. So when you have one of these phones on your person or against your head, it's a problem. Teach the kids to use it in speakerphone mode. Teach the kids to not talk very long. Use a text message, but don't hold it up to the ear.
You know, this study didn't really differentiate between children with thinner skulls, you know, and adults, but like Dr. Cowden did, but it still brings to mind these things have a cost.
Yeah.
I know there are people watching this show right now saying, that's ridiculous. I've been on the cell phone for 10 years, and I've never had any problem with it. And thank God, you got a thick skull. I probably do too. But I always use this voice.
Yeah, and I use earbuds myself. I just like to keep it away from the face. And I'll tell you, this opening line of this story from Mother Jones says, it's the moment we've all been dreading. Initial findings from a massive federal study released on Thursday suggest that radio frequency radiation, the type emitted by cell phones, can cause cancer.
Kyle, this is analogous to a study I brought you folks a short time ago. After a short time on the market, maybe a couple of years, a diabetic drug was found to induce limbs being cut off more frequently. So in other words, they'd have to do surgery to take limbs off if the patients were on this drug. Where was the FDA on that? And folks, do you want to wait another 30 years for the powers that be with cell phones to say, definitely they cause cancer? Or do you just want to push that button? In so many states now, it's not legal, right, to be driving in a car and be on. Are we in Texas? I don't even know.
Yeah.
But if I am in one of the states that allow this, I am always pushing the voice and talking. I'm in the car alone much of the time, driving to and from work. And
in fact, so much of the time, every time I call you, I say, is anybody else in the car with you?
Because
I
you're
know
talking
they'll hear.
and I'm talking.
Yeah. Well, let's bring this to fungus then, because what I was interested in was, is there anything about radiation and fungus and cancer? Well, we know the fungus linked to cancer. In fact, you're speaking very soon at a conference and about the fungus linked to cancer. But I was reading something recently that was talking about a certain type of fungi that actually, in a way, are fed by radiation. They feed, they don't grab radiation and eat, but that's right, Chernobyl, the mushrooms that are growing all over Chernobyl, the site of the biggest nuclear disaster in history, and then these fungi are eating it. But these same fungi, they're called melanized fungi. They kind of have a dark skin on them, so it's a melanized fungus. These can get into the body and cause human disease. Now, if you have these types of fungi in the body, and the radiation from the cell phones always here, they are attracted to where the food is, like everything else. Look at any safari show, and you'll see the animals go where the food is, the fungi go where the radiation, in this case, the food is, in this case, the brain, and then everything that you've ever talked about with fungus and cancer starts taking place.
Someone said to me, you know, the only flaw I see in your cancer fungus hypotheses is my dad chain smoked and died, his doctor said, of cigarette smoking. And I said, okay, let me tell you what Dr. A.V. Costantini taught me. You can go out to the field and roll up your own tobacco and smoke it and not get lung cancer. It's when we began dipping it in chemicals and sugars and then tightly weaving it in that little paper enclosure that we end up with fungus. We are smoking fermented grains, fermented grass with cigarettes. Thank you, Kyle. That was really interesting information. Thank you very much. And there you have it. Dr. Fred Pescatore, thank you for coming in. This is the liver, the heart, the immune system. Each has the ME3 bacteria he was talking about. There's the telephone number. Just pick them up, pick the phone up, give them a buzz. But by the way, put the speaker on when you do that, as Kyle and I talked about today. Thank you so much, Dr. Salter, for the fibromyalgia. Dr. Pescatore, what a winner. What an amazing product you have here. God bless you, folks. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.